For those of you that develop your own photos, specifically 120 format, let me show you a trick with the Patterson tanks, how you can develop your photos twice as fast, literally twice as fast, or you can do twice the capacity with one of these containers. So the main drawback when you're doing 120 is, say you got one of these containers. This is just the standard 500 mil one. So I can do 2 rolls of 35 millimeters, but I can only do 1 roll of 120. Now, say you only have a few rolls, that's no problem, but I like to save mine for like the end of the year, so when it gets wintry and snowy, I can just knock them out at the same time. Yeah, I got like 20 of them. I don't want to stand there for hours on end doing 20 rolls of 120. So I figured out a way that will revolutionize how you develop your film in 120 specifically, and how you can develop it twice as fast. So I'm just opening 2 brand new rolls of 120 that I will sacrifice for this demonstration. But please be aware, you will need to be doing this in the dark or in your own dark room or dark bag or whatever, because once these babies get exposed to light, they're done, they're cooked. So for demonstration purposes, I will just open both of them to obviously show you how you do this. So I have both my reels of 120. So what is 120, right? So 120 is a film that comes on the spool, and on 6x6 you get 12 photos, 6x4.5, 16, 6x9 typically, I think it's 6 or 7. So back in the day, like 10 years ago, they used to sell 220 film, which is basically 120 film that's twice as long, but it only has this paper backing for half the roll, right? So why is this important? Well, because that's the trick we're going to utilize. So again, brand new film, I'm just spooling out in the light for your demonstration. So like and subscribe if this helps you, because film ain't cheap. But anyways, what we're going to do is, when we're in the dark, in our dark room, dark bag, we're going to take our roll and we're going to separate it from the paper back like we normally do. And I always will wrap this little masking tape or this tape onto itself. And then we're going to start spooling it onto our reel. Now, I'm using one of the Arista Easy reels because I hate the Patterson reels for 120. So we're just going to spool it on our spool here. So as we get to our end, don't reel the end in. So get it fairly close, and then just leave it like that, right? And this is, since it's a brand new roll, it's opposite. The normal way it'd be reeled is you'd have tape at the end of the roll, not the start. Just know for this demonstration it's opposite. So when your film is just like this, right, you leave a little end left on there. You're going to take your second roll, again in the dark, and then you're going to unwrap it. And then we're going to tape this roll to that roll, and then we're going to reel both of them in the dark. So when you're doing this, you want to be careful to get your rolls taped evenly. So when I'm taping these, just make sure they're straight, like, so you can reel them on. So you notice how they're straight right here? And then we're just going to reel it as if nothing ever happened. Pro tip, when you're in the dark, keep your film straight. If it's sideways, it could untape half roll. Okay, we're at the end of the roll, and here we go, completely spooled. So now when I develop this, even though I can only do 1 spool, I got 2 films on 1 spool, so it's twice as fast. And for demonstration purposes, right, you see it on here, when I crack it open, I have 1 continuous spool still, and they're all on the rolls, so they weren't binding together or anything. So this is, we're connected, and I mean it holds together pretty well. That was some serious pulling. Now that we've got that out of the way, right, here's just some common sense tips, right? Because you might get a little excited and get ahead of yourself, but think about this first, right? So for color and for E6 slide processing, where it doesn't matter what rolls of film you have. You could have Kodak Gold, Kodak Ektar, Portra 400. You could all throw them in the same development tank, right? With the same chemicals, no problem. Even for like Velvia 100 slide, Provia 100 slide film, Velvia 50, it doesn't matter for slide film because it gets done in E6 chemicals, right? For black and white, it gets a little iffy depending on what your developer is. So I only speak to Rodinal because that's what I've always used and that's what I will continue to use. So this is mainly for all developers as well. But each film has its own developing time. Like say Tri-X is 7 minutes, right? And then if I have T-Max that's 6 minutes or whatever it is, I can't throw them on the same reel because what would my time be, right? So you can't vary the time because they're on the same reel or in the same container. So what you have to do is you have to pick films that have the very same development times, right? Like if I have, say, Arista 200 and Holga 400, which use the exact same time, I can certainly put them on the same reel, develop them for the same time. But, or like I believe it's Ilford HP4 and T-Max 100 or 400 use the same time. So if I have HP5 and if I have T-Max 100 or 400, I can put them on the same reel, develop them, and then when I pull them off, I'll know exactly which film is what. That's just something to be aware of, because if you forget this and you roll two rolls of film that don't have exactly the same time, you're going to have a little problem. But I've been using this trick for, I don't know, the last 2-3 years when I've been shooting a lot of 120 film. It is a complete lifesaver. And you don't always have to use the tape. Like I'll demonstrate just rolling the rolls one after another. It does work. Expect to have a little overlap when the two films do overlap. But you can totally just reel both of them in. And I'll even just tape the masking tape onto itself. And let's reel this guy in. Okay, so I got one film reeled on completely. And then if I'm doing this without taping, I'll still do the masking tape side. Obviously, when you're in the dark, you can still feel it. And then you just spool it on. And then when you do, just notice there is a little bit of overlap. Like we're talking half an inch of overlap. So when you do spool, it's still pushing your film on further, the first one. And your second film is still on there. There will be an overlap. And I don't know if you can see, but all that film is perfectly pushed on there. There's none that are overlapping. There's no films touching each other. And there's that. So I hope you love this trick as much as I loved it. Seriously has transformed the way I do darkroom film development, because I have a bigger tank. So this tank will only do one roll of 120 or two with my method. My second tank will do 2 rolls of 120, so that's 4 rolls. If you get like a tank that will do 3 rolls of 120, that's 6 rolls at a time that you can process, which is insane. I mean, if you shoot a lot of film, 6 rolls at a time in like 7 minutes or 9 minutes or however long it takes you with whatever film you have on there, but that's pretty quick compared to having to do 1 roll at 9 minutes. If you can do 3 rolls or 6 rolls in 9 minutes, yeah, this trick really, really works. But yeah, if this trick helps you out, please do like and subscribe so others can see it and to pay back for the rolls of film, because they were not cheap. hope this helps, and I will see you in the next one.